Have a bloody go at this. 2 lemons, 1 shot. We're not here to talk about the fruit variety, we're here to talk about this old girl and what we're going to do with it. Here she is. My 1966 Fairlane 500. 2-door, left-hand drive, 390 big block, 2-barrel car. Let's have a look. So we might as well have a bit of a chit chat as why I bought this car, what the plans for this car are, and how I got it so cheap. So what the plans for this car is to get it running. It doesn't run. The motor when I got it was technically seized, but we have had it turning. I'll show you more of that in the video. We'll have a look at that later throughout the day. We are going to pull the motor out today because I'm not happy with it. It's got a tight spot in it. I know if I keep trying to get it running, it's going to break and it's going to be a waste of an engine. So we're going to pull the motor, pull it down. We're going to run you guys through that process of how we do that. But first, let's have a look at everything that's wrong with this car. At first you might say to yourself, geez, that looks pretty straight, pretty clean, pretty complete. Well, let me disappoint you. This thing has more dents than I don't know what. Here's a dent, here's a dent. We'll come around here. Jiminy crickets, we've got a straight panel. Check out the rust starting in down here, all the way down through here. This quarter panel, you go, oh, it doesn't look too bad. Only a dent there. Oh yeah, it's a bit average up here. But let's have a look at the real story of this rear quarter panel. Absolute junk. Look how it's bowed out. If we can see down in this line through here, it's bowed out, it's rusted, it's average. Come around to here. Some people call this patina, I call it junk. Let's have a look in the boot trunk there. Oh, you can see through to the other side. Beautiful. More rust, more rust, more rust. Hey, we've got some rust here. Today we're giving a rust away everywhere. This boot, rust. But the pièce de résistance is this rear quarter. Check it out. Look at the bog scratch marks in it. Look down under here. It's just bloody Coke cans, more or less. We'll have a look on the inside. Have a look at this. How good's that? Check out the daylight in it. More rust, more rust. Now this would put most people off on buying a car like this. Oh no, it's junk. Well, to me it's not. It's everything I love. I love these 60s Fairlanes. 66, 67 Fairlanes are my favourite cars. Don't know why, just love them. I'll shut that boot because that's just ruining that shot. Haha, better. So I absolutely love these cars and I'll tell you why. I'm a big guy, in case you haven't guessed. 6'4". I'm not going to go into the weight of the subject, but yeah, it's up there. I fit in these things. I've had 66 Mustangs. I don't fit in them. They're tiny. They drive like, well, arse. These things actually drive nice-ish. The other reason I love them, a lot of their parts are interchangeable with our Australian Falcon and Fairlane platform. So as you'll see with my other car, the GT car, that we're converting to right-hand drive, I can use the firewall and whatnot out of an XY Falcon, ZA, Fairlane, that type of thing. Leaf spring, can't go wrong with leaf springs. Everyone rags on them, but if you want to lay skids like I just like to party laying skids, there's nothing wrong with a leaf spring setup. This car still got the drum brake front, still running the factory wheels mostly. I could say that, but over here, yeah, that's not factory. we had to put that on to get it out to here to take this little video of. But yeah, let's have a look under the bonnet. So what do we got going on here? Bonnet's up, let's have a geezer. What do we got? We've got 390 cubic inches of Ford's finest engine, the FE. Nah, it's not really its finest engine. A lot of people love them, I particularly don't. They sound cool, they don't particularly go that great, but yeah, it's not a runner now, but we endeavour today to pull it down and over the next couple of weeks get it running. It's a party car. I want it to be a party car. I don't want a show car with this car. I just want something that anyone can jump in with a few of their mates, go and lay a bit of rubber and have fun with. It's not meant to be a big dollar car, it's just going to be a fun car. So eventually it'll have over 1,000 horsepower, and we're going to take you through that process with different motors. We're going to, you know, have a look at the FE big block. We're going to get that going. We're not going to make 1,000 horsepower with that, but we're going to go and have some fun. And then when that blows up, we're going to build something, blown alcohol, and we're going to show you what the Australian skid cars, you know, how they're built and what actually goes into them. But we'll have a quick geezer inside while we're here. It'd be rude if we didn't. See a few more of the parts that came with the car. Plenty of rat shit. That's customary in a vehicle of this age. Bear with me. Lovely interior. We're going to order a trim kit, and we're going to keep the bench seat because nothing screams party car like 1,000 horsepower, you know, 5.5, 6 seats you could call it, and just going out and having fun, playing up like a miner's wife. So that's a very basic inside. I will show you when it's on the hoist how bad the rust is, because it's had some pretty quality repairs. Lovely rat hole there. But yeah, this is her. Very incomplete, but very cool nonetheless. You don't see many of these in Australia. Not sure how many of them you even see in the States. They're kind of not the most popular hot rod, but the Mustang definitely stole the thunder of these cars. But yeah, let's get into it, let's build it. So I've managed to get it up. Let's have a look underneath and see how bad it is. It's not good. Not good at all. Having a look under here, you go, oh yeah, it's just an old car, but that's not cool. So look at this side. Yeah, that side's not that bad. But have a look under here. It's actually got power steering. Pretty sure that's all gonna disappear. Let's have a look at the floor pans. Check out this for a repair. I think I'm just gonna scrap all of that. Doesn't get any better. Nothing's real good back here. At least it's got oil in the diff, I suppose. And then right the way through, check out this fuel tank. I am a bit lucky I do have another fuel tank, because this one's definitely stuffed. But we got some scrap metal. It's got pristine condition shock absorbers for its age. These are like the new Bluetooth ones. Just have a crack at these rear quarters. You can hear me neighbours putting a few bets on next door. Good on the old Tiger, it's Saturday afternoon. But yeah, lovely repairs. Bit of bog. Absolutely stunning stuff. It's alright, we can fix that. This side's marginally better. But yeah. Luckily it has got a 9-inch diff. Unfortunately it is only an open wheel setup, but we'll change that to a full spool. And up to the party end. I think we might even leave the gearbox in for this quick refresh. As you can see, up there on the crank, that's where we've had the Stilsons. Can't really get it to move. We can get it to slightly wind over, but can't get it to wind over on the starter. So I suppose there's nothing for it, but let's rip her out. Magic motorcar elves have been busy disconnecting everything. We've disconnected the starter motor, which is, I'll show you underneath. Alternator's off. We've got the water pump off only because we needed to gain access with a pair of Stilsons, as you can see by the bite marks here, so that we could turn the engine to get at the torque converter bolts. Fuel line's disconnected, power steering's off. What else we got? Wiring to the engine up here, that's all disconnected. Throttle linkages up here disconnected as well. Vacuum, earth cable down the back, that's all disconnected. It's pretty well ready to rock and roll. Bolts out the back there all disconnected. The only thing we've got to do is cut the exhaust so that we can get it out, because those bolts aren't coming loose anytime soon, and we're pretty well ready to lift out. Now the oil's really thin in this engine. Because the motor sat for so long, we tried soaking the bores with diesel and WD-40 and any other lubricant we could come across. Hence why it might be new oil, but it's very thin and absolute junk now. And there's going to be a fair bit of it in here. So we've just cut the exhaust off. A little interesting thing we found when we did was oil. Big heap of oil that was in the exhaust, which is now on the ground. From where we've tried winding the motor over, it's obviously pushed oil out the back and into the exhaust. So it's going to be interesting when we pull this motor down, what we find. I'm sweating like a gypsy with a mortgage. I've just put this little strap under here. It looks pretty dodgy, just to the hoist and over to here. What that's in aid of is when we pop the motor out, it can support the transmission so that it's not falling on the ground and busting the rear mount. So there's nothing for it but to let it down and start levering this motor out. So the motor's all rigged up now, as you can see. We might be slow, but we're rough. We've got one down over the crank, and then we've got this other strap that comes down here onto the factory lifting points. Being so far back, I'm pretty sure those lifting points are for when it has the automatic transmission on it, or manual as well. As you can see, bear with me, they're actually behind center of the motor. So that's why I've put this front strap on, so I can adjust the tilt if we need be. But pretty well, it's time to jimmy this motor forward and lift it out. Let's get cracking. I've got this gearbox, as you can see, is now off the flywheel. The motor's come forward a little bit, so hopefully now we've got the lazy way. Just drop the car down. Right. There we go. Motor's all but out.